Welcome back, cinephiles. Fuck. I haven't slept today. I'm so sorry. Welcome back, cinephiles, and welcome to your third episode of Silver Spoon Sips, podcast where three idiots talk about movies and roast famous celebrities for their iconic scenes in various movies. My name is Big Lou, and I'm your special guest, and here are your co-hosts, my good friends. Please go.
Hi, my name's Isaiah. Third episode in. You should probably know that by now.
Wait, what's your name?
Who are you?
It's Steven.
Oh, okay. I'm Bethany. Yeah, we might not, at this point, you're right. People should know us. So today we're going to be diving into episode 3 of Star Wars, which is Revenge of the Sith. We also have to mention beforehand, there's going to be spoilers ahead from movies and shows. So you can keep listening, but just know you've been warned. And Lewis is going to start us off with Big Lou's Big Brews. Go ahead.
Give me 1 second here to just pull this up. All right. So actually,
I swear he never has it ready.
Never, ever.
No. I did. I did.
Okay.
I just had to switch pages. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Relax.
You're good.
I'm so attacked right now. Okay. Anyway, I actually got really lucky today. So it's kind of funny. I noticed this trend from the first episode to now, and this wasn't on purpose. The first episode had 1 drink. The second episode technically had 2 drinks. And now the list I found, episode 3 technically has 3 drinks.
So are you going to have 9 drinks for the 9th episode?
No, I'm not. This wasn't the trend I was going for. I was going to have drinks that were related to each. I actually had planned on the Qui-Gon Jinn Singer being like the drink for our first 3 episodes. I would just talk about it in the first episode, not mention it again. But the fact that I keep finding more drinks kind of helps me out. Anyway,
woohoo, more alcohol.
Oh yeah, brother.
We're all woohoo girls here.
Our first drink is called the WOOKIE.
Oh.
It is a blend of oat-infused brandy, cloudy apple juice, and I believe ginger root.
That sounds like you would take a sip and you definitely would cough.
Right?
You know what I mean by that? Like a nice gulp and then just yeah.
The description here is that you'll have the taste of that dried ginger in the beginning, and then it'll kind of switch to like a delicious, smooth fruitiness.
Ooh.
Kind of like it's reminiscent of coconut water.
Ugh. Ooh.
I like coconut water personally, but anyway.
Oh, I do not, unfortunately. So.
I mean, I can only drink a certain amount, before it's like, but.
Is it reminiscent to the flavor or like the consistency?
Like it's like
it's a furry drink.
It was referring to like the almost tropical but not too sweet.
Oh, okay.
Flavor that like coconut water has. But yeah, if we could put a picture up of it, it's actually kind of interesting. And there's like a little Wookiee in the photo. It's adorable. This one's interesting, and then the aftertaste is going to have more of like a creamy tartness given by the apple juice and oats, and then the ginger and cinnamon kind of come back in the end. Let's see. Next one is known as the Emperor Palpatine.
And somehow the taste returns.
And somehow I'm drunk.
So this one apparently is actually a variation on the Emperor cocktail from a brand called Kindred Cocktails. This is a blend of Campari, Red Vermouth, and Orange Curaco.
Ooh.
You'll have a very strong scent of orange and sweet red fruits. You'll get that according to I'm going to read the description here. The initial taste has a smooth, regal nature to it, full of silky flavors from the red vermouth, but the palate is quickly absorbed by a rich bitterness from the Campari, highlighted by hints of bitter orange. A perfect fit for this cocktail's namesake.
What a great description.
I know, right? This one actually looks appealing to me, but I'm not 100% sure. Finally, and the one that has, I guess, the most relevance in episode 3, is known as the MUSTAFAR.
Ooh, I like the name.
So the ingredients we have here is apparently a chili vodka.
Like
Chili?
Like red pepper chili, yes. Chili vodka.
I'm already a no from me.
This next one is optional, apparently, a smoked vodka.
Ooh, I didn't know that was a thing.
And then apparently you can also add carrot juice and orange juice.
If you could see my face right now.
I know. Believe me. And then you garnish it with chili flakes and a small chili pepper on top.
I would just like to say that, whoever made this drink and the Bloody Mary can go jump into the Mustafar lava.
Right, so here's our description. We have a rich, warm, genuine notes of chili, swiftly followed by creamy, savory notes of carrot, and then the fresher, brighter notes of orange juice. Neither of the latter are too strong, so it stays both savory and slightly reminiscent of soup and refreshing.
Ew.
I don't think that sentence ended the way it was supposed
Refreshing and soup does not go together. I don't eat soup and go, ooh, that was refreshing.
The chili returns on the finish, along with a hint of charred smokiness. A delicious twist on a Bloody Mary that works extremely, if surprisingly, well.
I like how they say subtle hints of chili as if they didn't put a whole fucking chili pepper in it.
And then the chili flakes on top of it.
It's only for, the chili pepper itself is only a garnish. The chili flakes is like a very light dash.
Okay. I think we know our ratings for that one.
Right. So we're going to go through our ratings on what we would drink out of these three. I just thought it was interesting that this list came up at all.
Yeah.
I would probably drink the Palpatine and the Wookiee before I even tried the Mustafar.
Agreed.
I would give, honestly, the Palpatine sounded the most appealing for some reason. So I feel like I would try the Palpatine first, and then I'd probably go for the Wookiee next, and then never, ever touch Mustafar.
That's fair.
What about you guys?
The Mustafar sounds worse than the script for The Rise of Skywalker. I'm just saying.
Oh, man.
Good. That was a good one. I got to give you kudos to that.
So I'd probably do the Wookiee, the Palpatine, and then throw. I wouldn't wish that last one upon my enemies.
What about you, Lewis?
Honestly, I would, like I said, I would drink the Palpatine and the Wookiee. I feel like the Wookiee seems almost like a twist on a alcoholic apple cider.
It does. That's kind of why I'm like into it.
Right. The Palpatine I'm not sure how I feel about Campari, but I think it would be an interesting cocktail to try at least. What is that exactly? It's a red liqueur. I know it's Italian. I'd have to Google real quick to give you a better explanation. It's an Italian. It's an alcoholic liqueur. It's more often considered an aperitif, so like an after meal or before meal kind of thing. Gotcha. And it's like it's supposed to be both bitter and sweet because it's a mixture of herbs and fruit. I don't know why the hell they say the color here is carmine, but okay.
Can I get the hex code to that?
Yeah. So
real quick, I just want to mention while we're on the subject of alcohol.
Yeah.
I just got an email from ABC Wine because I'm an alcoholic.
Same.
about new arrivals, and I'm looking at them, and there's
Campari.
Have you guys heard of 19 Crimes? It's a wine.
Yes. What do you call it?
And That's Why We Drink talks about it podcast.
Yeah, that's where I heard of it.
And they have it now at ABC Wine. So,
ooh.
I'm going.
Beth?
I just want the bourbon that came in that long sword. Like the bottle was just a giant long sword.
Yeah. That thing is awesome.
Brandy sword?
The brandy sword, yeah. I still haven't found out where you can get that, other than like some weird place in like Saudi Arabia or something. I just want the sword. I just want the sword.
Yeah, I'm gonna like pour all of the alcohol out and just keep the sword. By pour all the alcohol out, I mean pour it all out into my mouth. But I'm going to take out all the alcohol, replace it with like water, and then just carry that thing on me all day.
This is my water bottle.
And then if someone's like, ma'am, is that a sword? I'd be like, no, it's my water bottle. If I were to go to like a concert with that, would I get in trouble?
I think so.
With a sword? I think so.
It's not a sword though. It's just like the shell of a sword. And there's just water inside. It's just a container for water.
Sorry.
I feel like you can legitimately inspect it. I would even be like, here, you can open it.
It's a container for water.
Yeah, it's a water bottle. I'd be fine.
Oh my God, Isaiah.
What did Isaiah just send? Jesus. Oh my God.
Armenian brandy, 350 milliliter bottle of a dildo.
Why is it so detailed? For those of you listening, Isaiah just sent us a glass bottle in the shape of a dick. But like,
I would just like you.
Really detailed. I don't like that.
It's probably made from a cast.
You know, they really missed out the opportunity to have the opening at the tip.
I'm not sure logistically it would make sense with the glass.
I would just like to say that Armenian, because if you type in brandy sword, this is like the fourth picture that pops up. I don't know what's up with Armenia, but they got the weirdest things.
If you, Lewis, if you put the opening on the other side, then you can make the bottom flat and you could actually stand it up.
That's true.
Okay, I'm thinking way too much into this.
She wants it to be multi-purpose.
Yeah, I want to be able to display it for everyone to come into my house.
Anyway.
So on that note, let's get into my question of the day for you guys. I don't know if you guys noticed. I mean, I know Isaiah probably did because he's Isaiah, but I don't know if Lewis knows. But recently, the Oscar nominations for this upcoming year have been released. The Oscars for this year are March 27th, I believe. So my question for you guys is a two-parter again. So we all three of us watched last year's Oscars together. Well,
sort of.
Half-assed watched it because we kind of didn't really care about any of the nominations.
Well, I did. It was just an absolute shit show. And then also I was drunk half the time. So.
Aww. So my first part of my question is, what did you guys think of last year's winners? And if you need assistance, I can tell you who won certain categories if you'd like.
Now, when you say that, do you mean like who won in the biggest categories, or do you mean like the overall feel of the Oscars from last year?
We'll do both. So my first question is, so obviously for Best Picture, Nomadland won, right? Mm-hmm. It was up against Sound of Metal, Mank, Minari, Promising Young Woman, The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. Do you think that was a justified win?
Lou, you got any?
Personally, the only one I know of out of that entire list that you just mentioned was the Chicago 7. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I can give a fair opinion. And I didn't even watch Chicago 7.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like last year's films just didn't hit.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the nominated films I was like, I literally hadn't heard of. And I don't know if it's just because last year was a weird year for everyone or what, but I just like, I had heard of some of them. Like I had heard of Judas and the Black Messiah, but I hadn't seen it. Same with Minari and Nomadland, but I hadn't watched any of them. And so I didn't care.
Right.
I don't know. I know Isaiah you probably have a different opinion on this. So go ahead and weigh in on this.
Well, I saw all of them other than Nomadland and The Father. Those are only two I didn't see.
See the winner.
I didn't see the winner, no, because it just didn't. It wasn't. My mom saw it because she's into that like those like nomad, like the new nomad culture that came up recently of people who just travel around in like small houses and kind of like stuff like that. So this was right up her alley. So she was really into it.
Okay.
I didn't get to see it though because it just didn't interest me. And then when it was nominated, I was like, crap, do I want to see it? And by the time the Oscars rolled around, I was like, crap, I haven't seen it. Whatever. I saw 80% of them, so I was like, all right, that's good enough for me.
Okay.
However, I do. It'll probably be biased because I obviously didn't see Nomadland. However, I do believe that Promising Young Woman and Minari were two very, very good contenders because like Minari was just fantastic. Like everybody in it was fantastic. Like even the side characters were great. Like the story is so self-contained, and it was really cute. And I was like, it is. And if it reminisces like those feelings of like, you know how like there's old movies about like, oh, the white people coming into America to try to make it big and all this stuff. but but this was all primarily about like an entire Asian family that did it.
Okay. And see, I legitimately have Minari sitting on my desk right now. I'm looking right at it, and I've been meaning to watch it because I love Stephen Young as an actor. I liked him in The Walking Dead specifically, but I've heard since then he's become this he's become a much more well-known actor. I don't know if that's just because of Minari or what, but it makes me want to watch it. And I know he's in the new upcoming movie by Jordan Peele. Nope. Yeah. So I'm curious what his role is in that. I haven't really read too much into it because the trailer just came out yesterday, like the teaser trailer. It looks interesting. People have been thinking it's like a Skinwalker type vibe, but I got more alien vibes. So we'll see. But anyways, sorry, I got sidetracked. Yeah, I'm on the same page as Lewis. I haven't seen any of these movies. Still,
then my recommendation is watch Minari because it is.
Yeah, it's on. That's why it's out of all of them. That's going to be the only one I think I do watch.
Out of the other ones, they're okay. I know like the slim pickings for 2020 because there wasn't because of the pandemic. There wasn't a lot of movies that came out. Everything got pushed and delayed. So technically, out of these options, it does make sense that they were nominated.
Yeah,
but I'm sure if other movies came out, these would not be on there. The Trial of Chicago 7, I feel like it's the least one that should be here because it was good. Is it us? I mean, the point of the movie is important because it's the theme and the historical event that it took place. However, I felt like it was a very run of the mill historical movie, and then it had a few weird tone issues because what do you call it? Sacha Baron Cohen's one of the characters, and he plays him and another guy play they're like goofballs. They literally there's a scene where they make fun of the judge where they're wearing robes, and then another day they show up they're dressed as cops. Well, but they're the ones on trial, so it's just funny. But it was weird to have this super serious tone of these 7 dudes getting put on trial for a protest that they technically weren't guilty for, and then having another dude who wasn't even involved there was a scene where which actually happened that this guy he was like a Black Panther. They duct taped him and chained him to a chair in the courtroom.
What the fuck?
And they put him on trial with the other guys when he wasn't even in the city at the time.
What? That's weird.
Yeah, because he was black, so it was and obviously it was a racist thing. But it's you have that, and then the next scene will have them pulling the robe gag, and I'm like, all right, this is kind of a weird tone to be going from a few funny jokes to having this super serious trial, and then the next day started off with another joke, and then continue with the serious trial. It was weird. So out of all of them, I feel like that was the weakest contender of all the options.
That it's honestly, it gave me those vibes of a movie where I was I feel like that's obviously that is not at all what I thought the film was about, but it's either way, I still think it. I was kind of surprised it was on there. Okay, so let's move on to. I'm just gonna pick the other the best film, which was best animated feature of last year, and then we'll move on to this year's nominations because I think that's more important.
Before we move on, I had a question. Quick, just not to sidetrack anymore. Just quick reminder of what the premise was of Judas.
Oh, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes.
Judas and the Black Messiah. So it's during the Black Panther movement.
Huey Lewis. Right?
Yeah. And then there's an informant that works for the FBI he got arrested, and he started going in and infiltrating the Black Panthers, and was basically just becoming the secondhand man to the Black Panthers to get close to
get close to Huey Newton, the leaders of the Panthers.
Fred Hampton. That's what I'm thinking. That was the guy's name.
Fred Hampton. Yeah, Fred Hampton, and I think.
Yeah, he's trying to get closest to Fred Hampton, and then eventually, and then everything kind of goes sideways when he's trying to stay undercover and stuff like that. Eventually, leading to the assassination of Fred Hampton. So,
also, I wanted to correct myself from saying Huey Lewis because oh my god, that was so far wrong. It's Huey P. Newton is the leader of the Panthers. I should know that, but anyway, thank you for catching me up on that and catching up our viewers.
Okay, so yes, animated film of last year. The winner was Soul, And then the other nominees were the other nominees were Wolfwalkers, Onward, Shaun the Sheep movie, and Over the Moon.
Out of all of them, I only saw Soul, as evidenced by my hell yeah brother. I actually loved that movie, genuinely. I don't really watch a lot of like Disney and Pixar anymore. But remember I watched it with my family one night, and the general premise and just I guess tone and values that they wanted to kind of put out with the movie and the way it was done, and the I think the biggest thing for me was the music, honestly. Because a lot of it refers back to jazz and blues and all this kind of stuff, and like people finding their passion. You know, this teacher who loses his passion, or is finally about to have that big break before he ends up actually dying by accident, and he's just trying to get back so he can have that big break and follow his one true passion, which was jazz music.
Mm-hmm.
Like performing live jazz music rather than just being like a music teacher. So. Yeah, honestly, I love the movie. I highly recommend everyone see it.
Okay. I still haven't seen it.
And I think it also out of the choices that you had there, seeing that I don't know any of the other ones.
Yeah. Well, Onward. Onward was the troll movie with Chris Pratt and Tom Holland.
Yeah, and I think I know Over the Moon, but I'm not sure. But I still think it's very well deserved.
Wait, were they trolls?
Personally.
Were they trolls? Or were they like elves?
They were something.
I can't. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
I thought they were trolls, but I think they might be elves. Because I think, they're elves. I just Googled it.
Teenage Elf Brothers.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen any of these. Again, I told you last year's. Listen, I'm usually on top of Oscars, but last year was just a shit show all around. Mm-hmm. So I kind of I don't know what it was about last year. I just did not have any interest in watching anything that was nominated, unless I had already seen it. Like I know Isaiah usually tends to watch them all, watch whatever ones he hasn't seen before the Oscars, so that he has a good understanding of what's being nominated. I don't do that. I just watch whichever ones I want to watch, but I didn't watch any. I have been wanting to watch Soul, and I think I know all of these. Except for Wolfwalkers and Over the Moon. So out of those three, which is Soul, Onward, and Shaun the Sheep, I would also say Soul, I think, deserved it for the creativity. And also with how it addressed like the afterlife and stuff like that in a very, I guess, I wouldn't say childish way, but in a way that it can reach to children in a positive tone, I guess.
Hey kids, you can die, but listen to this sweet jazz.
I also found it interesting that it wasn't just the afterlife, because most of it is spent actually in the point of like preconception. You know, like all these souls are about to go down to earth to be like, they're all basically going through their different like personalities and stuff that they're passionate for, right? They're basically finding their things. And then they go and become the soul like gets transported to the earth, and then whoever is born with that soul then it goes on to have XYZ passion and hobby and whatever they end up doing. And this is kind of spoiling obviously a lot of what the movie's about, but so apologies for that, Beth.
That's okay.
And anyone else who hasn't seen Soul. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that they talked about both, like pre-life and afterlife, but also in a way that was like that could make sense to children,
right? Exactly. Isaiah, what do you think?
I didn't see any of these.
All right,
excellent.
Yeah, no, I didn't see any of the animated movies. I don't know why. It just probably didn't interest me. Like Shaun of the Sheep. I'm not a fan. Never really got the appeal of it. I know a lot of people do. I don't. It's not to me.
What? I have to Google this now.
Soul and Onward.
You never seen Shaun the Sheep?
No,
really?
I've never seen that one.
Like just in general. Yeah. I was gonna say just in general. That was like a classic when I was a kid.
Oh,
Wallace and Gromit. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I've seen Wallace and Gromit. The Curse of the Were Rabbit.
It's like a claymation of like a sheep and this guy, with like the glasses and like red hair. No, not ringing a bell, Isaiah.
I've seen like the posters. I saw the trailer. That was as far as my knowledge of Shaun the Sheep went.
That's a good one. Do you guys remember? What was it called?
No, we don't.
Hold on. Back at the Barnyard.
Back at the Barnyard. Cartoon
Back
Network.
At the Barnyard.
Yeah, I remember that.
What did she go? Daryl, there's cows outside.
This is a cow farm.
Cow farm.
I feel
Gonna be cows outside.
I feel like that movie is
that used to be one of my favorite shows too as a kid.
The Barnyard, man. They really just, I don't know, what people on Cartoon Network in the mid 2000s were just high off acid like most of the time.
Okay, so now that we've discussed last year, let's move on to this year's nominations, which you guys will already know my opinion on one of these. So for Best Picture, our nominees are Nightmare Alley with Bradley Cooper, Don't Look Up by Adam McKay, Dune with Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya, Drive My Car, Belfast, Licorice Pizza, The Power of the Dog, West Side Story, King Richard, and Coda. A lot more nominations this year than last year, because last year sucked. Thoughts on these nominations? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you hope will win? So on.
Lou, you want to take this one first? Have you seen any of these?
Nope, I have not.
Damn.
Great input.
Have you seen any, Beth?
Yes, I have seen Don't Look Up, obviously. I know enough about Dune. I've been wanting to watch Licorice Pizza. And I've heard of King Richard and West Side Story and Belfast. So I've seen like one.
Okay.
No, I actually have not seen any of these. I wish I had better input for this, who I hope wins, but let's see. You know what? We're going to say Don't Look Up. I'm going to say that I hope Don't Look Up wins.
I hate you.
Why? Why do you hate me?
Are you legitimately asking, or?
I'm legitimately asking because I don't know any input to give you right now. And I'm also on 0 hours of sleep currently.
So for Best Picture.
Yeah.
So my definition of Best Picture is something like I would take it and look at it as like an art piece, not just like a fun action pack comedy, like it's like something like I'm trying to think of a good example.
Fast and Furious would not be on that list, is what she's saying.
Exactly. Something like that. And I feel like Don't Look Up is the only reason Don't Look Up is nominated at all, in my opinion, is because it's a star-studded cast, and they're also, not only are they is there a lot of them, but they're also very high paid. So I feel like there's a little bit of biased.
It's got star power and money.
Yes, star power.
Okay,
exactly. So I feel like there's nothing about it that is worthy of Best Picture compared to the rest. If it was like Don't Look Up and then it was a bunch of shitty movies that came out, then yeah, sadly Don't Look Up would probably win. But in this instance, compared to like even Dune, which I heard bad things about Dune, I think Dune is better. Well, I think we know Isaiah's opinion. Go ahead, Isaiah.
Well, okay. So out of all these, I've seen Nightmare Alley, Dune, and the rest I know a lot about, and I plan on watching Don't Look Up because I guess I have to at this point. However, so Nightmare Alley, I'm thinking, to my opinion, so far the ones I've seen is kind of the weakest in here. I love Guillermo del Toro. Don't get me wrong, love the guy. He makes freaking great movies. However, Nightmare Alley was a very it wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. It did have like it was a very slow pace. It wasn't very what do you call it? Horror-esque as his normal stuff would be. It just felt like a very and it was very not run of the mill. It was very like there's nothing that stood out insanely about it. That's what I'm trying to say. That doesn't make it bad, but I'm not saying it's like amazing where like, yeah, it should get nominated for all the Oscars. Like it did get like a nomination for like one of the like I think like best costume or something like that, which I was like, yeah, that makes sense because that freaking, what do you call it, period pieces are hard to do. And it takes place in like the like that carny midlife western area kind of stuff. So that makes sense. Best picture though, I don't know. Now, I guess you don't look up. Dune, however, is my favorite. I gotta say, like, I just freaking the movie. I love the movie. I saw it in Dolby. It's near perfect for me. I just what do you call it? Everything about it is just freaking great. I love Dennis Villeneuve, or I forgot I pronounced his name, but but
see, I haven't seen it yet. I've just heard mixed reviews.
I don't know.
So that's
I don't know what these mixed reviews are, because the only thing I've heard is praises. The only thing I've heard are praises, so I don't know what you are hearing mixed about.
I'm just saying, I know people who didn't like it, so we'll see.
I will give you one thing that it's not everybody's like. I can tell like yeah, it's not everybody's cup of tea. That's still going to be the theme of this episode, but because like it's about space politics. It's basically what the Star Wars prequels wanted to be about, the whole like galactic senate and all that crap. Except Dune has the actual lore and the actual know-how on how to do it, because the what do you call it? The guy who actually wrote the freaking books wrote 4 of them, and each of them are really freaking thick. And they have and the man spent freaking 5 years working on just how the science works on the freaking Dune planet on how to get water. Like the man he went into like J.R.R. Tolkien level detail on how the entirety of politics and science and the spice and all that crap works on these planets in this galaxy, which is exactly what I feel was George Lucas was trying to do with the Galactic Senate and the prequels, which failed miserably because it just was boring. This actually makes sense, is fun. They don't get hung up on the politics too much, but they also give it enough for you to know what you're doing. And also there's a lot of exposition that they have to tell you, because there's a lot of lore and a lot of things to do it. But the way they do it doesn't feel like they're just info dumping on you. It actually comes up naturally to explain it. There's a lot of it, but it still comes up naturally, which I think some people might just not. They were probably coming in thinking like, I'm looking for this action spectacle like Star Wars. Oh my God, we're going to watch space fights. And then they start talking about politics here and there. And everybody's like, oh, this is boring. And what do you call it? The movie's like 3 hours long, which it does justify its, like I said last episode, it needs to justify that time frame of having like a 3 hour long movie. It does justify it because the book is just so much in it and there's so much going on that to try to condense it into a 2 hour movie just wouldn't work. The pacing would be terrible. The information would be done. Half the movie would just be you just spitfiring information at you that wouldn't make any sense. Which they did. That's what they did it with David Lynch back in the 80s, and the movie was panned because like well, first off, the special effects were terrible for the time. It didn't age well, and it was just too short. A lot of the information just didn't get through. So
yeah,
but I can't understand why people probably won't like the movie, because it probably wasn't what they were expecting. Because
that's fair.
They were going in thinking for an action movie, and it turns out no, it's about, there's a philosophy into it, there's a message, there's a theme, there's an actual lore thing to it. So I can see why people didn't like it, but I think it's amazing and people should come back to it.
Okay. So for animated features, we have as the nominees, we have Encanto, Luca, Flea, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. Have you guys seen any of these?
My bartender keeps telling me to watch Encanto. Like Lily has told me, I think every day that I've seen her. Have you watched Encanto yet? I have not seen any of them, no. We're on a roll here.
Yeah.
Well, the nominees did just come out, so we could probably come up to this question later on before the Oscars again, and then we can see what our opinions are.
True, and I also don't watch a lot of films as it is.
Fair. Have you seen any of them, Isaiah?
I've not. Everybody keeps saying the same thing about Encanto, but there's like 3 Disney films on here, so obviously one of them are going to win.
No one saw Luca?
No.
Man, guys, I should have mentioned this beforehand, because I could ask a different question.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I thought it would be good. Oh well. We can ask. We'll come back to it. We'll circle back in a month. Maybe you guys will have seen at least one of these movies. Well then I'll give my opinion at least. I've seen Luca. In Encanto, I saw like snippets of it, and I don't know what it was about it, but I just didn't. I mean, maybe if I watched it all the way through, I'd have a different opinion, but I didn't really care for it that much. I liked Luca. I thought it was really, like, it was cute. It definitely wasn't something where I was like, oh, this is going to be a Disney film or an animated film that, like, I will remember. You know, like, I feel like Up or, like, Finding Nemo, you know, like, those are films that I feel like will be are talked about for years and years after they're made. But I feel like these films are kind of just going to get swept under the rug.
Mm.
The next wave of animated film. So I have heard really good things about the Mitchells versus the Machines. So I think if you guys are going to watch any of these animated films, I would suggest that one because it's, I think, supposed to be a little less Disney cutesy and it's supposed to be a little bit big. I guess not so childish. So I'd watch that one.
Is Luca the Mermaid one?
Yeah. That one.
That's what I thought.
That one is good. I liked it. I hope Luca wins, but that's because that's the only one I've seen. I have a feeling though, probably Encanto's going to win.
We're still both wins for Disney though.
Yeah.
Disney.
Never heard of Flea. Flea is the only one I actually hadn't heard of.
I have not either.
So Flea is the one I do know. I do know the most about. Basically, it's about this dude from Denmark. I think he's like Muslim, but also I think he's also gay. And he's kind of going around and he talks about his story about I think from his past for there was I think he was in like a war, like he was a victim of like a wartime area. And I think he just he hasn't told his boyfriend that story, like that trauma. And I think it's kind of it just kind of follows that. So I think it's more like a documentary kind of story thing, but it's told in the story of animation.
Huh.
See, when I think animated films, I always think children movies like Disney and Pixar and stuff like that. So,
oh no, I don't think this one is.
Yeah, no. When you said that, I was like, oh, okay, it's more of an adult animated film.
Yeah.
Those are good. Okay, all right. Well, great job, guys.
Thanks.
Thumbs up all around.
Yeah.
Thumbs up all around. Excellent.
All right, Isaiah.
Take it away.
You got your facts for the day?
I do have my facts for the day. Let's get to it. Okay.
Who's in this one? Who almost had the roles? That's what I want to know.
Almost had the roles. Well,
we had Michael Jackson. We had NSYNC in the last one.
Oh, well. Okay, yeah, no, I got some for you. I'll wait until I get that one. But yeah, I got someone.
Great.
All right. So, we'll start off with a simple one. C-3PO's armor is very reflective, as you know. It's gold and it's very shiny, right?
Yeah.
However, because they keep on filming them, because George Lucas loves the CGI, they film the movies on green screen and blue screen sets. So, C-3PO's armor just reflects green and blue in the original shots. His outfit is just blaring green and blue all the time.
Jeez, that must have been a bitch.
Yeah, so the video effects artist had to go into the movies and frame by frame fix his armor to get rid of the color.
Oh dear God,
that's just miserable.
If you didn't know, I think 95% of the movie are visual effect shots. Like the total amount of the shots is 3,800 shots in the movie, and I think 3,700 of them are visual effect shots. And that means they have to go through every single one of those shots. And that's not the shots. I'm talking about the frames. They have to go through every single frame of all those shots.
My God.
But yeah, so anytime he's there, they have to go and take out all of his freaking his armor frame by frame.
That does sound terrible. That sounds like a very miserable job to have to do.
Oh yeah,
I feel bad for that.
I would need to be paid big bucks for that one.
Industrial Light and Magic guys getting their paycheck.
Yeah.
All right, so General Grievous was originally his original design was meant to be a child in a floating chair, protected by two IG-88 droids, which are the assassin droids, the skinny black ones that have the heads that spin around.
One from Mandalorian.
Yeah, they look like pine cones. That's yeah. So two of those protecting a child in a giant floating throne.
That's I don't like that. I'm glad they didn't go with that one.
George Lucas didn't like it either because he didn't think it was believable that this child was a legendary Jedi killer and a master of hand-to-hand combat. He was like, this doesn't add up. So he scrapped that idea.
Good.
But yet we have Yoda.
Yeah, right. Well, Yoda's at least can jump around and shit.
Yeah, a 2 foot tall green
goblin little
absolute beast.
Mm-hmm.
A puppet. Okay. Well, yeah. So obviously they didn't go with that. But Grievous was then turned into what we know as today, apparently because I guess his head is based off a bathroom spray nozzle. I don't see it.
Boy.
Yeah, apparently it's based off a bathroom cleaner like spray bottle novel. I don't know what bottle George Lucas was looking at to tell his team to like base it off that. I would really like to know. I would literally, I would love to see the picture that he took, but I don't know. But apparently that's what the lore says.
I love that.
Now, so our next fact here is the rumored original title for Revenge of the Sith was The Creeping Fear.
That sounds like an 80s monster like film.
Yeah. Good they didn't go with that. Now, I think the story for why Revenge of the Sith is like why it's named that is pretty well known, but I'll go over it anyway. But basically, when George Lucas was making Return of the Jedi, his original title was Revenge of the Jedi. And then someone brought it up to him being like, that it doesn't sound that, it was Return of the Jedi. And someone said, I think you need it to be a little more, it doesn't sound like catchy or like, it's not get enough oomph to it, basically. and then he said, okay, I'll do Revenge of the Jedi. And then he said to himself, wait a minute, Jedi wouldn't take revenge against their way. Yeah. It wouldn't make sense. So he went back to Return of the Jedi. And then he had Revenge. He's like, Revenge of the Sith. That actually makes more sense now. So he went with that.
I knew that fact actually, though, that it was originally they were going to change it to Revenge of the Jedi, and then changed it back. But that's interesting that I mean, I didn't put it together that he just was like, I can use it for this one though.
Hi, welcome back.
Sorry, we had technical issues and the recording stopped. So we are back now. Good thing is we didn't say anything important. So Isaiah, continue with your next fact.
Okay. So George Lucas, he developed a bad cough while on set and recorded it, which was then used as General Grievous's cough. So when you hear General Grievous cough, that's actually George Lucas.
I love that. I imagine did he see? Because now I'm wondering, did he cough and was like, ooh, that would be a great character trait for Grievous? Or was it like, he's going to have this cough and then he got a cough and he's like, ooh, use mine. I want to know what happened there.
Interview questions for George Lucas. Write it down.
Georgie boy, hit me up if you have. I mean, I'm sure he has an answer for it, but hit me up.
Tweet at him.
At the George Lucas.
at the real Jedi.
The real Jedi.
The real Jedi. All right. So we finally reached our fact of who was going to be in the movie and did not make it. So we have drumroll, please.
Oh, my mic's not picking it
up. Gary Oldman as General Grievous.
Sirius Black.
Yeah, Sirius Black. Sirius Black would have been. Yeah, Sirius Black would have been General.
Would have been Sirius Black, Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
General Grievous.
He would have. Can you imagine General Grievous investigating crimes in Gotham?
General Sirius.
Commissioner Grievous.
Commissioner Grievous. Yes.
Oh no, I have one even better. Commissioner Grievous Black.
Ooh,
back when he had human parts.
No, he's still a cyborg. He's still a cyborg. He still has lightsabers. He still chops you little bits.
Would he be just doing the voice for that? Or they mean he would be human form?
No, it would be his voice.
Okay.
So, though it might have probably changed a few things because of what actually happened, because what ended up being General Grievous. But yeah, no, his voice would have been by Gary Oldman. However, because Gary Oldman is part of the Screen Actors Guild, and if you don't know what the Guild is, basically a union for all screen actors. They pay their dues and all this stuff to get contracts. Basically, it's a bunch of lawyers, make sure that people don't get screwed over on their contracts, kind of things like that. Gary Oldman is part of the Screen Actors Guild, and therefore must get approval before joining a project from the Screen Actors Guild, and the set or production has to be working with the Screen Actors Guild to do it. If not,
I hate that.
Personal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore has to prove and go through all that process. However, George Lucas doesn't like using guilds. He does not like them. He tries to do it outside of the guild as much as possible because
amen.
And he has a personal reason for it, and I can kind of get it. But basically, he was fined $250,000 by the Directors Guild for not including Irvin Kushner's name at the beginning of The Empire Strikes Back. Basically, what? Yeah. So I guess in the contract for Irvin Kushner or for the Directors Guild, you have to put I guess, the director's name in the opening credits, but there aren't any opening credits. It's just a screen crawl. Therefore, because there's no opening credits, therefore his name wasn't in the opening credits. Therefore, it's a violation of his contract. So they fined $250,000.
Woof. Sorry, I heard a dog.
Woof.
Whose was it?
Irving Kushner's is the Empire Strikes Back director.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So justifiably, George Lucas was like, screw that. I'm never working with a guild again. So now he tries to do it outside the guild. Therefore, Gary Oldman couldn't be part of the project, because if he did do it outside of the Screen Actors Guild, outside of it, they could either fine Gary Oldman or revoke his participation in the guild itself. And obviously they're like, yeah, we can't risk that. So Gary Oldman had to say no to the project.
Damn. That would have been interesting. Who is Grievous?
Grievous is played by 5-time sound designer Oscar winner Matthew Wood.
Matthew Wood.
Yes, he's a sound designer and sound specialist, and he basically came up with like the voice of Grievous being like the coughing mechanical sound that you hear. Yeah, that cyborg's like it wouldn't have just been a voice put in like a semi filter. Like it wouldn't have just been Gary Oldman speaking and like they had like a robotic lung kind of thing sounding. So the reason General Grievous sounds exactly the way he does is because of this guy and what he did.
Huh. I like how he sounds. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it works. Now,
that's a good fact.
Now this is the fun one. So in the opening sequence, when the second Separatist ship destroyed, right? Okay, so you have the sequence where they're right in the beginning, where Anakin and Obi-Wan are flying in their little ships and stuff like that. There's right when they are flying through the battle, there's the second Separatist ship that gets destroyed. There's a shot that kind of lingers on a small piece of debris that flies into one of the clone ships, right? It's very weird. Like like you're gonna notice it now every time you see the movie, but before you would have been like, oh, that's cool, that's weird, and then it keeps on going. However, if you look very closely, what that debris is flying into the Clone Wars ship is a kitchen sink.
A kitchen
really?
sink?
It's a kitchen sink, and here's the reason why. All right, so the Clone War the Clone Star Destroyer that get hit. Basically, they said someone in Industrial Light and Magic made a joke about how they're throwing everything in the scene, including the kitchen sink. So someone then put a kitchen sink as debris to hit the ship.
That's pretty funny. Now I have to look for it.
It's very hard. I actually went back and watched the scene. It's very hard to make out if you don't have like a 4K TV or something like that. But it kind of looks exactly what you're thinking of like that's a double kitchen sink. It's just flying through the sky.
Interesting. Huh. Now I gotta watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna YouTube it later.
That's interesting.
So now out of a bunch of people that there's apparently there are a lot of people that came to visit the set while they were filming the movies, and those people include George Lucas's best friend, Steven Spielberg,
right.
Francis Ford Coppola, Robert De Niro.
Wait,
Francis Ford Coppola, the winemaker?
He came and visited the set. Yeah, he was at George Lucas just knows a lot of people, and they just all come by and hang around.
But Francis Ford Coppola, of all people?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, do you mean the Apocalypse Now guy? Like that he just came by and just was having fun? But yeah, no. These are all confirmed people that showed up on set to hang out. So Steven Spielberg, Francis Ford Coppola, Robert De Niro, Elijah Wood,
De Niro?
Yeah, he showed up. Dean Devlin and Liam Neeson.
I thought you were about to say Dean Martin, and I was like, wait, what?
Liam Neeson makes sense.
Yeah, Liam Neeson makes sense. He was like, oh yeah, I think he has like a very small ghost cameo in the third movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that makes sense that he was there. Steven Spielberg he was there for so long that he actually kind of became like a director, like a small unit director for a few things. Like he was there in the pre-visualization stage on Mustafar while they're trying to develop the like what it was going to look like on the computer engines, and he basically just kind of like told them a few things, being like, hey, you could probably do this and you can probably do this, and then they were like, that sounds pretty good, and they actually did it. So he kind of did help.
Like a wise old man.
Yeah. There you go. When Steven Spielberg tells you to do something, you think about it. Or you do it.
I love him. A lot of people don't like him as a director, but I really like his work.
I think he's too nostalgic sometimes.
That's what I like about it, is that he's very nostalgic.
I'm just tired.
Because it's like, to me, that's like his gimmick, I guess you could say. Gimmick. So I kind of like that. Like, I know going into for the most part, going into a Steven Spielberg movie, I know I'm going to like enjoy it.
I'm gonna have to see West Side Story.
Except for Poltergeist. Fuck Poltergeist.
Wow. Okay.
That's by him, I think, right?
Steven Spielberg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hated that movie. That movie was bad.
Well, Beth's true feelings come out. Heard.
Yeah, but I support you, Stevie.
I support you, Stevie.
I stand Stevie.
We stand.
Is that all of them? Is that all your facts?
Nope, my last one. All right. We have one more about our favorite Jedi, Mace Windu.
I thought you were going to say Jar Jar Binks for some reason.
Shut up.
I forgot. He's an ambassador now.
Misa, take this with great humility. So Samuel Jackson, right? So he said he knew he had to die in this. So he told George Lucas that he would only do the movie if Mace Windu goes out in a blaze of glory, and not like some sucker. Apparently, the quote is,
and not like some sucker.
Yeah, on an American late night show, he confirmed that he did have a meaningful death scene, and he did not go out like some punk.
That's great.
The I guess originally Boba Fett was originally supposed to come back and kill him, but George
Even
Lucas,
though he was decapitated.
No, that's Jango Fett. That's his dad.
Or Boba. Sorry.
Yeah, Boba the son. He said that he was supposed to come and kill him, but then he didn't think it would be believable that like a teenager came and killed freaking Mace Windu.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, wasn't Boba technically a clone, not just his son? Also,
he was a non-aging. I mean, he was a aging clone, so they gave him basically a child.
Right. Okay. Got it.
But like at that point, Boba was 10 or like 11 during the Attack of the Clones, and this movie takes place only a few years after, so he would have been like 13, 15 at the latest if you want to stretch it.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter how how hard he trains. This child's not gonna do it. So yeah, so eventually that idea was thrown out, and then he did. Samuel Jackson does think that he did have a meaningful death.
Okay,
that's the last of my fact.
Very good, very good. All right, well then, I guess it's time.
It is time.
Are you ready, Lewis?
Let's lead with the most redeeming quality of this movie. Probably the greatest fight scene in the entire franchise.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what stood out for most of the people that saw the film too. Like whether or not they liked it as a Star Wars film or whatever else, that was probably the greatest prolonged lightsaber battle on screen
100%.
in the entire franchise.
Oh yes, I agree.
Ewan McGregor and
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen. They both trained for 2 months straight to do that fight.
Oh hell yeah, brother!
And it really shows. Like they did a freaking amazing job.
The only scene in that, or the only part in that fight that bothers me, is when they're both facing each other directly, like a foot away, and they're just spinning the sabers and not hitting. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome. But it's like, okay, you had about 30 chances to hit this guy and you didn't. You just had to do your little flashy spinny move.
Right.
That's the only issue. Everything else is chef's kiss, a beautiful fight.
I understand where you're coming from, but we also have to think that so far, like up to that point in the film franchise, any strike from a lightsaber is basically close to fatal. You know, because like in episode 2, he takes one stab through the stomach and he can't get up again. And then Anakin loses it. I mean, Anakin lost an arm, so that's different. But like Ewan McGregor just getting like stabbed in the stomach and not being able to move or even use the Force to defend himself. You know, like imagining these guys in the middle of a fight doing their spinny, even though they're a foot apart and they're very close to like hitting each other. Even the slightest graze would have like technically taken them out based on what we had up to that point.
True.
So, at least that was the idea, you know, behind like all the other evidence you have up to this point versus like when you see in The Force Awakens when Kylo gets his face cut or when he's shot by Chewbacca and the fact that he gets up and he's like, no, I'm going to keep fucking fighting like nothing happened, you know? That was like the first intro into like, oh, you know, these people can take some serious fucking hits.
You know, that's a good point. I never thought about that. That he just takes it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why when like I remember also when Force Awakens, I mean, we're going to get to this later, but when Force Awakens came out and people were saying Kylo Ren was a bitch, and I'm like, I don't think so.
Well, Kylo Ren ended up becoming the best character out of that series, but that's a conversation for another episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall it's a great film. There's obviously its ups and downs as with any Star Wars film, but I think out of
Ambassador Jar Jar.
Yes. Out of the prequels,
100% the best one out of all of them. Yeah, I would say it's definitely up there. I definitely like the fight. Anakin as a whole, I feel like his character's better in this one than in episode 2. Like, I just feel like his arc is a little bit better. Obviously, everything kind of comes to a nice conclusion. So we finally get to see Darth Vader, like Anakin, become Darth Vader. Yeah. And also the soundtrack. Duh. The soundtrack is amazing for the whole movie. Not only just for the fight on Mustafar, but leading up to it, Anakin's betrayal. That's I think the name of the song too. That soundtrack, tears at my heartstrings. It's so good, especially like the song that plays during Order 66. That song is what I'm referring to for anyone who's fuck is she on about. That's what I'm talking about. It's a really good song.
All of the
score. I don't know.
The score for the entire film score is very well done. It's very well placed as well.
It's when a soundtrack is good when you hear it and you can picture the scene being played because it's that memorable.
You also have to think I've always tried to think about this, like when they try to make music for movies, like create film scores, like just the creative mastermind that comes to some of these people.
Crazy. That's why I don't get why you think John Williams is bad.
Okay. We're going to get into
this. We're not going to get into this.
We are getting into this because he talked about this like 2 episodes ago and I was like, what? And I'm sorry, I'm bringing it up.
Before we get into John Williams, can I say at least give his opinion on the movie and then we can talk about John Williams?
Fair.
My opinion on this movie is that it's good. I love it. It's best side of the trilogy of the prequel trilogy.
He's not mean today.
No, I'm not mean today. I like this one. I actually do. It's obviously the foundation's very, very rocky, so I can't give this one like a great score. Because obviously it's still built upon 2 very bad movies. So, but given the third movie and given what like it had to work with, I think it did very well. And its soundtrack's great. Story is a little convoluted, but again, the foundation is a little rocky to begin with, so they had to do what they had to do. The General Grievous, probably the greatest villain in this franchise. One of the greats, and then what do you call it? I actually have a lot of good things to say about this one.
Yeah. Also, don't forget the iconic line, do it.
Do it. So it's treason then. And then
I am the Senate.
And then
there's so many good lines.
I have the high ground.
And let's not forget the other great line that's not even words. It's the fucking scream he does as he's going to attack the Jedi.
Oh, you mean the snarl? It's literally called the Emperor Snarl.
Yes, the Emperor Snarl.
Yeah.
Which I think in a video game I played, it would have been called the Force Scream. Anyway.
But yes, I like this one. It's not terrible, and it's actually my favorite out of the trilogy. So I'm gonna give it like a 3, maybe a 3.5 out of 5.
That is really low for saying it's your favorite out of the series or out of the trilogy.
Because a 3 is okay, a 3.5 is like, oh, it's good. 4 is great, like and 4.5 is like almost a masterpiece, but there's still something wrong. There's still a little bit wrong. And then 5 is like, there's nothing wrong with this movie. It's perfect, and I'll love it for the end of time. And so that's my version of like the score. So it falls in between that it's okay and it's good area, because like everything that's good about it, there's always like a little caveat somewhere because of the 2 movies previous to it, because it's very heavily, those are the foundations,
right?
Those are the foundations. Like there's not really a way to get rid of those. Like there's like, oh cool, like what do you call it? He's doing this for the person he loves, but then you got to think about the entire relationship that Padme had, cringy, and so like it's a little bit tainted. So that's where my mind goes, because like everything's a little tainted in some degree because of the last 2 movies.
So then what do you give it, Lewis?
A 4.
I was gonna say a 4 as well. Not a 4 as an Isaiah 4, but like a 4 as in out of I'm talking about as out of the series.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah.
It's a 4.
It's definitely
number
a 4.
3. Number 3 is number 4.
The only film I think that does get above a 4 for me is Rogue One.
Really?
That's the only one.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people who don't like Rogue One.
The reason why is I'll tell you what. Darth Vader, his cameo is amazing.
Try not to choke on your aspirations, Director Krennic.
We get the little lightsaber that we've been wanting, a little taste of it. The cinematography, like by cinematography, I mean like special effects and all of that. Amazing. It's not trying to be this goofy, childish Disney movie. It feels like I'm watching a Star Wars film. It's grittier. It's a little more real, I guess, with the acting. It's not trying so hard for these like one-liners. And even though we know how the story is going to end, it was just, I don't know. I just liked it the most, I think.
I just love Felicity Jones.
Yeah.
That's what I thought Beth was going to say when she started saying, I'll tell you why. It's like Felicity Jones. I was like,
one reason, Felicity Jones.
Oh, she's good. She's good too. She wasn't my number one reason though. But yeah, I know. I think that one's probably my number one.
I am one with the Force and the Force is with me.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I love Donnie Yen. I love Donnie Yen.
I almost had that tattooed on my body.
The Force.
I might still, honestly.
Do it. Episode 10.
Episode 10. Lewis gets a tattoo.
I was going to say, Lewis, if we got like enough listeners, if we made a goal and we got that many, would you do it?
What, get a tattoo?
Get the tattoo.
I do want to get this tattoo, but it would be different to work towards it as a goal for our like listeners versus as a goal for me, because I could take years to get it versus if we get enough listeners by episode 10, then I could do it, as long as I have the money.
A total of 1,000 subscribers and or listeners on Spotify, depending on all the platforms together, have to equate to 1,000.
I think it's a little high, Isaiah.
Like across Instagram and YouTube?
Yeah, so like across Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify if we ever get out there.
I think that's ambitious.
No. I think that's good. By the end of the season?
Sure.
So episode 10.
That's like 2 months from now.
Okay, yeah.
That's realistic.
Maybe, okay, 2 months, maybe 1,000 is probably a little too high. Well, 100, 150?
Let's do 100, because I feel like 100's a good milestone.
Yeah.
Okay, if we can get, all right, so listen up, everyone. If we can get 100 followers, whether that's from our Instagram or through YouTube or Spotify and iTunes, whenever we can get on there, Lewis will get a tattoo that says, I am
one with the Force and the Force is with me.
Where are you going to get it?
If I hate myself, my chest.
Oh, yes. Okay, guys, make it happen.
No.
You have till the end of this season. You have till the episode 10 to get us to 100. Do whatever you can to make this happen.
Oh, God, that would hurt so much.
Well, now that's where it's going.
Oh, that would hurt so much.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we all did our ratings then?
Yes, we did.
Did you? Oh, yeah, you did.
Okay, so why do you hate John Williams?
Oh, my God.
I'm not letting this down.
I don't hate John Williams. I think he is really good at his job. However, I feel like his style of music doesn't apply to anything modern. Like his,
Do you
like
realize how old
his
John
style
Williams
of music
is
very like, huh?
Do you realize how old John Williams is?
Yeah, but I mean, like people can adapt to the times. Like people can learn, they can grow. So my thing is that all of his music.
Isaiah.
What?
No, you're asking too much.
I'm asking too much. I'm asking for too much for people to grow.
This man was born 10 years. This man was born at the start of World War II.
I understand 1947 was a very long time ago, okay?
No, 1932.
1932. Oh, World War. Oh.
At the start of World War II.
I was thinking the end.
I have a rebuttal to what you just said, Isaiah. So I will agree. John Williams hasn't really done much more modernly. Most of his work is from like the 80s to early 2000s. I think the latest thing was like Indiana Jones, probably, that he came out with. Yeah. Or like Superman, but like that's not.
You did Superman?
Yeah, he did the Superman theme.
Okay, think of like any obviously any Spielberg film is going to have John Williams on it. My issue though is like, and if it's not a movie that is being nostalgic about, like it could have came out in like 2020. My idea though is that like if if it's about a movie or is part of a franchise that came out in the 80s or like back when he was like the music makes sense for him to be there and his style of music is like freaking there, like Jurassic Park, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
He did Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List.
Yeah, but those are Spielberg films.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're not like franchises or nostalgic, I would say.
Private Ryan might be because it's based in like World War II, but
yeah, so it's still not contemporary.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. He's good at doing like I don't know if Lewis, I don't know if you know what this word it means, but like what is it? Light motifs.
Yes, light motifs.
Yes, he's good at that. Where if anyone who's listening doesn't know what a light motif is, it basically is how would you explain it? It's kind of in a song or a soundtrack or something. It is a specific melody or tune within that song that makes you immediately connect, like, oh, something's about to happen. Like, for example, or someone's presence. So like Darth Vader, the Imperial March.
Yes.
You hear that, you immediately know something with Darth Vader is happening. There's some sort of, whether he's walking on screen or someone just talked about him and it's just faintly playing in the background. Or Indiana Jones, like Lewis was just doing the little dun 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 dun, like that's Indiana Jones, you know? I think John Williams is very good at that. I feel like all of the music he's composed, almost all of it, you hear it and it has some sort of leitmotif incorporated in it. You know, you got Jaws is the little dun dun, like there's so many. But yeah, I will agree with you that he does not have any more contemporary or modern music, but he's also like 90 years old. So
yeah, he's been doing this for 70 years.
I don't know how much else he does.
He's been literally been doing this for 70 years. That's insane. Actually, the funny thing is here, Wikipedia lists contemporary classical music as one of the genres that he participates in.
Interesting.
That may just be like separate from films. I
mean, yeah, I understand his filmography is huge and all. It's just, yeah, I don't think he does anything contemporary. Like if you were to try to put him doing a movie that's like, his style of music just what?
Sorry, I started diving a little bit into. Did you know? Okay, little fun fact, guys. Did you know John Williams has a son named Joseph Williams, who is the lead singer, I believe, or he's in the rock band Toto.
Oh,
yeah, I did not know that.
What are the odds?
That's the Africa guy and the.
Let's ring the
Rosanna, Hold the Line, classic. Anyways,
all right.
So
well, I guess because like comparison, like think about that because like okay, you have Hans Zimmer, right? Like now Hans Zimmer at sometimes he can be a little overrated, but I do think he's also another amazing composer. Mm-hmm. But the guy has been working since the 80s, has done over 150 films, and all of them don't have the same style. They're all very unique to whatever movie is going on.
Yeah, like.
Even though you can still spot like, oh, that's definitely Hans Zimmer. You can definitely tell it's Hans Zimmer, but they're so differently unique. Like Inception doesn't sound like No Time to Die. Like it doesn't, and like No Time to Die doesn't sound like The Dark Knight, nor does The Dark Knight sound like Dune. Yeah. like they all sound very different, yet you can tell they all work. Now his is a bit hit or miss. Like Army of Thieves, I didn't think was like I didn't really know it was anything noticeable about that one. But then you also have The Prince of Egypt, like where everything makes sense. Or he did the Modern Warfare 2 soundtrack where every freaking song in there is a freaking hit. It's a banger. And then like John Williams obviously also has all of his like his obvious like Jaws, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, all those stuff. But like they're all still like, oh, that's a John Williams score because you can hear John Williams because it's very John Williams.
Yeah, that's
so fair. I don't know. I feel like if you were to try to put him in like a very modern movie in his style, it would not work. And that's why that's where I get an issue with it.
Okay, that's fair. Do you guys have anything else you want to say then before we wrap it up?
Did we have anything we want to change about Revenge of the Sith or?
Yes. More fighting. I want to see more fighting, I guess. I don't know. That's a good question. For once, I don't know if I would change anything.
I know there's something that could be changed. But I can't like put my finger on it.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's kind of it's a good note that you can't really tell what needs to be changed.
Fuck.
Maybe one thing would be like the Padme line. Can we just change the line where she's like, Anakin, you're breaking my heart? Can we change that?
No.
Maybe that.
Yeah, or her even her death. Honestly.
Yeah, maybe that.
I think another thing I might make a little more, not even change, but just expand on it a little more is the whole Mustafar, like when Anakin goes to kill the entire Separatist League on Mustafar.
Yeah.
So I would like add a little more flesh to that, or not have it just be like one random slaughter that happens within seconds. Shit, even the Jedi Temple massacre.
See, I liked that. I liked that it was just kind of like one after. Oh, the Jedi Temple specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I would agree.
Those are things you could flesh out. No, you don't have to change what you did in the scene. You just need a little extra.
Isaiah?
Actually, I have one thing. Yoda's fight with Palpatine.
What would you change about it?
I would say that
it's not a good fight.
It's because so if Palpatine versus Yoda, yeah, okay, happens. And then Yoda kind of gets like pushed to the floor and he just kind of gives up. He's like, well, I didn't beat him. I guess I got to go into exile now. Like, okay.
I think there's...
Like, he was like defeated too easily. And then he decided, I guess I can never return and do anything Jedi related for the rest of time. Like, it was such a drastic, like, switch.
I think he hides for that reason.
No, I think there's...
I thought he was hiding to be safe.
Yeah, I think there was...
Yeah, but like... but he's just the most powerful Jedi that is ever.
Actually,
and like,
no.
he fights Palpatine.
It's Ahsoka.
No, actually, the most physically powerful, I think, was actually Mace Windu. And then Ahsoka. And then, like, as far as... No, I mean, like, physically. Like, not just in the Force, but, like, as a physical human being, was Mace Windu. And then after that comes probably, like, Anakin and Ahsoka in whatever sense you want to go with. But... because Anakin was probably, I think, at least for the first portion, was technically considered the most powerful in the Force, or one of the most powerful in the Force of all time. Yoda, I think there's some, like, it's like a subtle build up to all of this, because you have to remember, like, Yoda in the other films is mentioning how the dark side is clouding, like his ability, his like precognition and his connection with the Force and whatnot. And not to mention, he's also like in that position where he's not tapping into the Force because he just lost like entire cadres of Jedi, So going into this fight with Palpatine, who's now basically at full strength, because he was like kind of gathering all these things and setting up all these moments of tragedy and stuff like that he could feed off of. Now Yoda's facing like a full power Palpatine to try and fight and like hold him off, while also thinking like, shit, I got to get out of the fucking building.
Yeah.
And plus, like, it's like Force, like I think Yoda is kind of balanced in being like a very strong Force user, but also like a very powerful lightsaber combatant, versus Sidious was focused mainly on overpowering him with the Force.
I still think he just gave up too easily.
I agree with you. I think it's more like we're not seeing Yoda go into this, like, we're not given an image that makes us think Yoda's not going into this fight full strength.
Real quick, I just Googled who the most powerful Jedi is while you guys were discussing.
Sure.
And
Qui-Gon.
I thought it was pretty funny, so I had to share. This is obviously not this is not an official list. I don't think there really is one, but this is just what according to ScreenRant.com, the most powerful Jedis include Leia Organa.
Leia?
I know. I was like, what?
Because of freaking... Oh, my God. Because
of 178. Yeah. Rey is on there. Ben Solo is on there.
Okay.
And then the rest are justified. It's like Yoda, Anakin Skywalker, Dooku, Luke, Ahsoka. Grogu's on here, apparently, which I feel like we haven't seen enough of his abilities to really actually be able to determine that one. Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Cal Kestis from the game.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a couple others as well. But yeah, I thought that was funny. I had to share that Leia made the list. Okay, so that's everything. Everyone's happy?
Yes.
Okay, great. So
I'm not happy with that list, but yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for listening, guys. I think this is going to be a longer episode than the other two, because we actually, for once, enjoyed the movie. We hope you enjoyed this episode, though, so feel free to leave a comment. Let us know what you liked and what you didn't like, and comment below with any questions you'd like us to answer or anything film related. Also, try and get us to 100 followers or subscribers, whether it's on our Instagram at Silver Screen Sips, which you can go follow, or here on the YouTube channel or on Spotify and iTunes when we do get to Spotify and iTunes, so that Lewis can get his tattoo, because I want to see that. You have until the end of this season, which is going to be the 10th episode, is our final season episode. We will be posting every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And follow us on our Instagram, where we post latest updates on episodes and whatever else we want to post. And we will see you guys in the next episode, where we will talk about episode 4. We're out of the prequels. Fun.
Entered the original trilogy.
The original trilogy, episode 4, A New Hope. I'm excited for that one too now. Now we're starting to get into ones that I actually like. Great. Okay.
Hell yeah, brother.
Happy Valentine's Day, even though you won't be listening to this on Valentine's Day. But today, the day of recording is Valentine's Day.
Hopefully you're listening to the second episode of Valentine's Day.
Yes, the second episode came out on today, and we're recording the next episode. That is what's happening. I'm sorry. I'm telling myself this because it's confusing. All right. See you guys.
Bye.